point blank, period.
Yes.
That's the unapologetic part where it's like there's not unapologetic.
Right.
And it does not mean that you are then a dictator.
Right.
Just like Ali was,
Ali.
that's just like Ali was alluding to. You're not, but your mother, your own mother, looks at you totally different, especially akija kwako, ameingia kwako, amekaribishwa na bibi ama watoto wajukuu. It's different. Then there's this thing called kuna huyu mtu utamjukuu.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this gender wars, like they don't help because they amplify things that are, like Yakobo Simba put it, some things that may be in the fringe, but the gender wars amplify them. And you see, when the gender wars amplify them, when people are reading them, like when people are constantly reading that, they tend to go and act it out at some point. So that amplification, yes, it may not be a representation of the reality, but it's planted into people's brains. And people will start, like acting on that or thinking that this is the norm. So Yakobo asked, why does it hit differently? I think he's referring back to the conversation Mel was having, like when you're a mother, you're raising your son, like unataka afanye hivi na hivi na hivi ndani ya nyumba. But at the same time, it's also important to also guide your son to letting him know that he's also a leader, like he's also a decision maker.
A head of household.
Yes. In as much as, like a single mother can be very powerful na afanye, like mtafanya kila kitu equally. If there's a boy and a girl in the house, mtafanya kila kitu equally, mtaosha vyombo equally, mtafanya hivi na nini. But now, when this same mother, like sits out and sees the son, like being treated in a certain way by a woman, it hits very, very differently. Like vitu was in a change. I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, and that's the reason why it is important for you to empower, your son, to make him know that, like ataye, he's the man, and he's gonna be the head of the household, because you also don't want, like your son to sit there and feel like, now when nitenda kuoa, things are also gonna be equal in this way. You have to assume, like, and I know there might be some disagreement, you have to assume the leadership role as a man. You have to come in as the leader, unapologetically. And by the leader, I don't mean a dictator. I just mean, like there has to be someone who provides direction in that household. And I think this is where, like we, like, and it would have been very nice to have a woman on panel. I don't want to speak on behalf of women, but I think it's important, like in the household, to allow for there to be one leader.
I think rightfully so, it's Father's Day, so it's okay just being boys, just talking and expressing, so that mamas
siko kwa hiyo kamati yenyu ya nini unapologetic.
Yeah.
Siko hapo.
So now, give us your comment.
Give us your views.
Talk to us.
Actually, you know what Ali is. Mika ulikuwa unasema kitu?
No, go ahead, Ombosh, wacha Mika ataingia.
Okay, so I was I was saying what Ali is saying, it's interesting. That feeling that Ali is talking about, I don't think it matters whether the parent, the mother, is single or with partner. Ile you get nikao, you've been elevated. You move from my child to
someone's spouse,
to someone's
husband.
spouse,
yeah,
or the man in a house. I don't know if
makes sense.
You are,
because if, essentially, because this boy you're raising at some point is going to give you grandchildren, meaning at some point.
Yeah, potentially.
Yes. Potentially. So this guy you're seeing used to be your baby, you've raised him or whatever. will actually leave. You know, my uncle always says, you know, kids, watoto ni wapita njia. They're sojourners.
Yes.
You know, and do you live with your mother right now?
Asha.
Do you live with your mother right now?
No,
Like, do you live in her house?
Asha.
Neither does Mika.
I haven't lived
But
with my mother in a long time.
But if anything, your mother is going to come and visit you.
Yes.
Correct.
You know, when she comes and visits you, you know who's probably going to be at the door welcoming her?
It's going to
Your
be
child.
your child.
Your child
Yeah.
says, oh, show,
Yeah.
show, whatever, anakuja. Your wife welcomes her in, whatever. Munaketi.
Yes.
Carry on, sir.
So, you know, that getting to run your own household, or should I say your own corporation, you're now the CEO of your own corporation,
Yes.
or you're the president of your own little country within your 4 walls or 3 walls and a door. But
4 walls and a door, bro.
whichever way you want to put it,
Yes.
the bottom line of it, like Ali is saying, and you know, and before even we go into biblically, because now if you go biblically or you go into religion, sasa hapo ndio unafungua Pandora's box, na kuna wale watu wasema mazee hapa sijui nini, but there has to be a head of the household, and the head of the household is normally the male. Point blank, period.
Yes.
That's the unapologetic part, where
Yes.
it's like there's not unapologetic,
Right.
and it does not mean that you are then a dictator.
Right.
You know, just like Ali
Not
was,
Ali.
that's just what Ali was alluding to. You're not, but your mother, your own mother, looks at you totally different, especially akija kwako, ameingia kwako, amekaribishwa na bibi ama watoto wajukuu. It's different. Then there's this thing called kuna huyu mtu utamjukuu, the connection wa huyu mjukuu na nyanyake. Yani, in fact, sometimes unajiuliza, where was this when I was growing up? Huyu mtu si ule mtu ninajua.
They soften.
Wacha even soften. It's ni kama they are cardboard na wamemwagiliwa maji.
Bro, there's a time I tried to discipline Aiden. My friend. My mother was like, what are you doing to the baby?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Where?
The baby does no wrong.
Where?
While wewe ulikuwa unakulwa makumbo.
Bro. Kwanza tunasemanga gunyo zile za kwa mathighs, between the thighs.
Yeah.
As guys, you would be hit with you would be hit with anything that the hand could reach.
Yes.
And God forbid it's that kabelt.
Unakumbuka the young girl was here, Audrey. What did she call Amwiko? A death instrument.
Death instrument.
Yes.
But you see, here's the funny thing. You know, now we are talking about our mothers.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about
our
fathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see that, and that right there is where now that, because I'm trying to bring it back. Our fathers, they sort of get sidelined. Yes, they were disciplinarians. Mzana soma gazeti. Me, I hear stories. Dada nakuja kwa hao, anaketi. You fear that guy. I never got to experience that, but you fear that guy.
That mzee was the mzee. We agree. But ile connection ya kusema ati sasa sisi ni maboys. Ati tumekaa chini, tumefanya ati sijui yeye kukula happy, sijui nini. Something that I actually see some guys now having the pleasure of doing. You know, where guys like actually with the dad. Like he's actually with the dad, and they can sit down and have a beer together and say, ati I'm with the mzee, we are catching pints, nini. And I'm like, wow. And for me, unfortunately, my dad died such a long time ago that I never had that experience. I never had that experience where my father walked into my house where I'm running my household. Now I'm there, mzee, karibu, keti chini, you know, and you know, he's being tuko backyard, tumweka kalingala yake. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Never had that experience.
Mm?
You know, Mika, I don't think so. And the reason why I say I don't think so is I had the pleasure of replacing my dad with, unfortunately, my dad passed on, his older brother. Sasa now is who sasa yeye ndio alikuwa mzee. So every time I went home, I made sure any free chance, time and space, niko na ye.
Yes.
Now, he treated me just like his own son. And I think every time alikuwa ananiona, anaona bradhake. You know what I'm saying?